No. We shall see, but we will continue that discussion as we go along. One other game that was just absolutely spectacular. LSU and Ole Miss, another overtime thriller. This game, 29-26, was your final score. And speaking of quarterbacks who are not having their best day, Garrett Nussmeier was not playing a super great game. He had 2 interceptions early in this one, but he came alive. He came alive, and he finishes the day with 337 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a game-winning score. And look, they struggled. They struggled. They didn't play the game that they really wanted to play, but this is a tremendous finish, and that's really what matters most. I thought that they would need to run the ball better. I know you highlighted Caden Durham specifically. You were kind of riding that guy here
Yeah.
over the last couple of days. Caden Durham, if you told me before the game he finishes with 37 yards on 12 carries, as a team they finish with 84 yards on the ground, and they get outgained 2-1 in terms of rushing. I would have some bad feelings about what was going to happen for Ole Miss or for LSU in this game. But that is what happens when your best players step up when the moments are at their brightest. And Ole Miss, on the other hand, the Ole Miss that we've come to know. And unfortunately, Lane Kiffin, it just didn't get the job done. It's another top 10 matchup where he falls flat.
Well, a couple of things here. This game changed when Trey Harris had to leave with an injury in the first half. He was having a huge night already, 7 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. LSU did not have an answer for him. I don't believe in the second half they were going to have an answer for him. So I do think the game changed in that moment. And the LSU defense ramped up. They got 6 sacks. They forced Jackson Dart into an interception. He also fumbled the ball once, although they didn't lose it at that time. They got a 4th down stop. The defense for LSU did the job. And you mentioned Nussmeier. He kind of grew into this game, had thrown 2 interceptions earlier in, but rebounded with a touchdown right before the end of regulation that would send it to overtime. Another touchdown in overtime that would win this thing. The question now for LSU is, can they grab hold, especially Nussmeier? Can he take the confidence maybe built and the trust built in this game? And can they look different offensively moving forward? I think they need to, because they're kind of right back in this discussion now. And they're squarely there. And now I'm not sitting here saying that they're ready to win a national championship when I just said Penn State couldn't. But they're right back in the discussion into playing themselves into the playoff. And they're going to be a tough out the rest of the way. But tough break for Ole Miss, because I think with Trey Harris that they win this game, and they probably win it by 2 possessions, if we're just going to be honest.
Yeah, Trey Harris was good. I mean, he is that good. And when you lose a player that good, it hurts. It hurts your entire offense. But also on the other hand, credit to LSU, man. And this is still an offense that has several weapons, and LSU had a lot of question marks about what that defense was going to be able to do. This game was like a 50-50 burger fest last year. And this year it's obviously the complete opposite of that. And the Rebels entered as favorites, and it's the second time this season that they've fallen in a game that they were favored in. But I mean, you look at LSU and you look at Ole Miss, neither one of these teams could have afforded a loss in this game. And LSU still got a very tough road. I'm not ready to crown them anything yet. I'm just not. You still have a lot of question marks around this team. I mean, the defense played well. They got after Jackson Dart. They sacked him. They harassed him. They forced turnovers. That's what you got to do on defense against a prolific offense like this. But they have to continue with that. They have to continue progressing and getting better, because you still have this brutal stretch coming up. You have the trip to Arkansas, which is not a sleeping game. That's not a game that you can fall asleep at the wheel and hope to win, as we've already seen this year when Tennessee went out there to Arkansas, and Texas A&M and Alabama. I mean, look, this is the stretch. If you can emerge unscathed, I will check. You're in. You're into the college football playoff at pretty much at that point. But if you drop these next couple of games, then you're right back to where you started, which is on the outside looking in. And Ole Miss, I have a hard time believing that they're going to rally back out of this. They just have too many deficiencies. They just have they just got some holes. And the biggest of which is they can't protect their quarterback. You have to be able to keep your quarterback upright. And then it's on the other side. It's like this was an offense that was scoring like 40, 50, 60 points a game. And they were prolific and they were fantastic. They were fun to watch. But in their last three, they haven't reached the 30-point plateau. They haven't scored 30 once. And one of those came in a blowout win over South Carolina. Albeit it's one of those games where you go up big and then you just run the air out of the ball. And so I'm not going to fault them for that because they hold South Carolina to 3 points. It's just the way that the game goes. But Kentucky, you really weren't able to get anything going at all. You're held to 17 points in that one, and then 26 here in this one to LSU. This is also an LSU team that's not particularly adept on the defensive side of the ball, and you weren't able to do much of anything. So I've got a lot of questions about Ole Miss, and it doesn't get any easier here now as the schedule continues to ramp up. You've got the Dogs coming to town. I think I got a lot of question marks about that one. And if you hit that 3-loss, and then you have no ability to lose a single game throughout the course of the rest of your season. Ole Miss had the easiest strength of schedule of the top contenders in the SEC. They were right there alongside Texas, and they've just now dropped too many games. And the downside of that is that you're now not going to have the opportunity to win your way back in. They have to win out, and if they don't win out, they're out. And I just really have a hard time believing that Ole Miss is going to be able to battle back from this tough loss for Lane Kiffin and company. Any more thoughts on this one?
No, I think you hit the most part of it. I viewed this as an elimination game. I think Ole Miss is eliminated. I agree.